Warning. Here on Modern Femme-ily, we may look like ladies, but some of our favorite words are 4 short little letters. Our ages lend everyone to believe that we are adults, so we may use adult language some find offensive. We also tend to get serious sometimes. We may discuss sensitive topics that may be triggering to some viewers. Basically, we have opinions, we discuss them, and we swear a lot in the process. Welcome to Modern Femme-ily. Join us here every Friday at 8 p.m. live, where we discuss everything from a woman's point of view. Sometimes it's funny and lighthearted, and sometimes we aren't. With us, you never know what you're going to get. With our host and resident lesbian Cassie, and our LGBTQIA+ ally Molly, nothing is off limits. You never want to miss an episode, as we talk to women and allies from all walks of life, and you can always expect to laugh. So sit back, relax, and join us for the next hour, while we laugh and joke and have a good time. So come on, what are you waiting for? Now is when the good part starts.
Hello, Modern Femme-ily. Welcome back. Sorry we've been gone for a few weeks. I do apologize. Things have been a little crazy in our worlds, and we'll fill you all in, of course. But welcome. Hi. If you are coming back, welcome. We are so glad to have you. If you are new, thank you so much for joining. Welcome to the Adult ADHD train. This is what happens. You'll see what I mean here in a little bit. But thank you so much for coming back. It's great to have you. We're so glad to be here. We've missed you all. But yeah, life has been life. And one of my favorite sayings in life is life gets in the way of life. It happens. So I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time rambling as I come on. But yes, if you are new, my name is Cassie. I am the host and resident lesbian here on the Modern Femme-ily, and welcome. I'm not going to ramble anymore. I'm going to bring out my co-host because I could sit and talk to y'all forever, but that's no fun when it's just me. I get a little crazy. So, but yeah, I'm going to bring out my co-host and my friend, my sister, and yeah, I'm done talking. I'm going to bring her out. So here comes Molly.
Hello!
Hi!
Oh my gosh, hasn't it been forever?
I know, it's only been 2 weeks, but it feels like forever.
It's been a hot second. To the fact where I was like, I'm not getting ready tonight. Like, this is it. I went and ran some errands. I literally threw on this headband because it's chilly. It's cold outside. It went from 75 degrees, like, weirdly 2 weekends ago. And now it's like snowing.
Yeah, like legit 2 weekends ago, it was 75 degrees here in central Pennsylvania. And we had a snowstorm Tuesday into Wednesday. And we had snow squall warnings today for whiteout conditions.
Yeah. And it's cold. So I put a scarf on this, and I was like, "It's what it is."
I think it looks super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's what happened.
I said we both look very warm and cozy because it is legit freezing outside.
Winter.
So
it's winter now. I don't know if it's officially winter because I actually don't know the actual date of when winter is officially, but it's here, brah. It's cold.
Yeah, I don't know. I go by it's fucking cold outside.
Yes.
So that means it's winter, right?
I know. But your girl is spoiled. I finally, I had a car. It broke down. And then I didn't have a car for, the longest time because of, COVID, working from home. I don't need one.
Right.
We had one already. But then, got some news that I was pregnant. So I was like, sure, I need a car now. So now I got a car that has an automatic starter.
Yeah, I'm a tad jealous of that. Mine does not have that.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. I literally, like, I was like, I gotta go run some errands. So I was like, I'm gonna boop, boop, turn that little bad boy on.
Right?
It was so warm when I got in there. I was like, oh, this is it. I finally made it.
Well, and on the flip side, when it's 110 degrees here in Pennsylvania, you can be like, boop, boop, and it's nice and cold when you get in.
It's so nice. Like, and that's all I've ever wanted, especially
Right.
living in PA, is like an automatic starter. My sister had one when she was living with me, and I was so flippin' jealous because she would just like, and like, she just turn it on, and all the snow would just like basically melt off, and I'm sitting there like trying to get everything off. Like,
Well, yeah, because by the time you trudge out and you
yes.
start your car, you're like, well, I'm already cold. I might as well start to clean it off.
I know.
And
I know.
it's a pain. And like, you know what I want? I used to have one when I lived at home with my mom, is a garage.
I mean, when you are in snow weather, I feel like that's ideal.
Yeah.
Abso-flippin'-lutely.
Like, there was nothing better than just going downstairs and starting my car and opening the garage door, or vice versa. If, you know, people are like, don't start your car before. If I started my car, it was like, start my car, open the garage door.
Right, right.
I didn't sit there with it started. But there was nothing nicer than just backing out into the snow and not having to clean off an ounce of your car and just drive off.
So nice. Well, now, like, we live by a very busy road, and plows come by all the time, and flipping, you'll like get your way out, and then and then it's like rock hard effing snow. I'm like, I just shoveled this bitch. Seriously?
Yeah.
No. First world problems. Seriously.
First world problems. No, exactly. Talking about not wanting to clean up our cars in the winter. Sorry, everyone. But it's true, because I mean, we live in a development, so it's a little easier here with like the plows and things like that, because they don't mix it with salt and cinders and things like that for most of the development.
Yeah.
But it's still, it never fails. You get the driveway plowed out, and then the plow truck comes to the development, and you're like, damn it, I just did that.
I know.
Could you like push it into my snow pile perhaps and not just throw it back in my driveway?
I know.
Thanks. Because while I have an SUV, my wife has a small like Dodge Dart.
Right.
So I can just floor it and right up over that little mound of snow. My wife's like,
well, I can't.
do I want to lose a bumper or not? Like,
do I want to bottom out?
Right. Like, and when the other night we had to run out in the snowstorm, and I was like, do you want to take my car? Because she's been driving my car because she's just been lazy and not wanting to put gas in her car. And I was like, that's fine. I don't go anywhere. Run the gas out of my car. I don't care. Right. I don't go anywhere. I work from home.
Yeah.
So I was like, save on money, just drive my car. And so we took my car, we had to run out. And she's like, well, why don't you stay here? In case something happens, I can call you and you can come get me. I said, I'm not driving your car in the snow. And she's like, my car is actually really good in the snow. I said, I'll take your word for it. I have an SUV for a reason. I'm not going to test my limits in your car trying to get my car out of a ditch. No, I'll just ride with you. And if anything happens, we'll call my sister.
Right.
She's got like a huge Yukon. She can come get us both.
Right.
And bring us home. No. Real quick, Kat says, good evening, ladies. Good evening, Kat.
Good evening.
Nice to see you. She says, I've gotten blocked into my driveway with the snow, so I called in fucking cold. I like that. That.
Yes. I know. One like Utah, man, there's snow. Whew, they get snow. Oh, yeah? Oh.
That is no joke.
I know. Sorry, man. That itches.
It's funny hearing Kat say that she called in cold. I think it was this past Sunday. I was like, I've seen so many memes like online of like, you know what? I called into work dead, or I called into work gay. I was like, well, since I'm already gay, can I call in and be like, I'm feeling straight, so I don't think I'm going to be able to work today? Right. Would that work? I feel like I'm coming down with the straight, so.
Right. I know.
My wife was like, I mean, you could try.
Right? Why not? It's worth a try.
She's like, knowing my boss, and like she knows my boss, and same boss as Molly's. She's like, she'd probably be like, oh, I'm sorry. What?
Wait, what? Right?
She'd be like, oh, I'm so, like, you must be really sick. Did you say straight?
Right.
Because I'm not one of those people that call off. Like, especially working from home, like, I could literally be losing a limb and I would still go to work. Like, there has been, I think, 2 occasions that I didn't working from home. And one was I got my second COVID vaccine, and I was like, I need to take a nap. I am so dead ass tired. I literally have toothpicks in my eyelids, like keeping them open. I'm so tired. And I can't remember the other one, but I think it was like same scenario. I was like, I'm just going to go take a nap for like an hour or 2. I'll be back, I promise, but I just don't feel well.
Right. Yeah, I took some time off the other week because my household had effing COVID.
Yeah, that's why.
Not fun. Pregnant, FYI. If I was wondering, it's not great.
I've never, knock on wood, had COVID, so I could not imagine growing a tiny human.
Yeah.
And having COVID.
Yeah.
Like, that's why we were off 2 weeks. The first week, Molly was super sick with COVID.
I'm sick.
And then the second week, she was just like, it's recovering.
No, it's still kind of like hanging on. Like, I kind of still have it in my nasal area.
I would say I could hear the little bit of like nasalness.
And just the exhaustion alone was intense. Yeah. And like, I'm in my 3rd trimester, so I already know I'm flipping tired anyway.
You're being sucked of all your nutrients, energy, everything.
Let's be honest, this entire pregnancy I've been tired.
Well, I mean, you're growing a human, so you have an excuse.
There hasn't been any reprieve. I think I was talking to you. I think it was like about a week and a half. I had like really great, like I was like, this is gonna be a great pregnancy. No. Mm-mm. Yeah. I mean, medically wise, yes, great, healthy, as a horse, clean health bill, yes. Right. However, I've had every freaking symptom in the book.
Well, I can't tell you how many conversations Molly and I've had on FaceTime. And all of a sudden she's just like, I'm like, girl, go puke. Like, go do it. Don't hold it in. Better out than in.
Oh my God, I know. And then having like COVID, that was like the worst. And my body hurt. Like, I thought the first day, and it came on so fast because we had the show that night.
That was our Halloween episode
finale. Yeah. And I felt fine. And then I went to go to bed and I was like, oh, I kind of have a sore throat. But like, your girl's still got her air conditioning in her window because she uses it all year for a fan. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just that. Like, I'm starting to get used to it. It's kind of colder outside and I kind of have a sore throat. And we were supposed to go and like actually do like fall things that Saturday. And
just kidding.
Yeah, Charlie woke me up and he's like, I have a fever. And I was like, bitch, go take a test. Like, because I need to know. Like, because I was like, I feel like I got hit by a truck right now. Like, what happened?
Right. You're like, is it a man cold and I'm just like having sympathy pain? Right. Or are we both sick?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I felt awful. And then he tested positive and I was like, son of a bitch. Somebody has to bring me a test because, like, I have to call my doctor to let them know.
Being pregnant, especially,
Yeah. And then it flipping came back positive.
Well, and I'm so thankful that Alicia wasn't able to join us that night. So I decided to stay home and we did the show separately. Yeah. Because I love you, girl. And I know you know how to share. I don't want you to share your COVID germs.
I know.
So I was like, that was a weird like intuition moment because I was still going to go even though it was just you and I. And you were like, you can just stay home if you want. Like, it's not a big deal. It's okay. And I was like, sit in sweatpants and not have to be in public?
Right.
All right. Twist my arm a little harder.
I know.
But I'm very thankful that we decided not to because you'd have been sick. I'd have been sick. My wife if I sneeze because like I get dirt in my nose or whatever, she ends up with the flu.
Right.
So like
Right.
her immune system is super crappy. And I mean, she's double boosted, you know, because of what she does. She works in healthcare. So, you know, she's very cautious. And luckily, I don't think I've had some stomach issues. I had a really bad stomach issue over your wedding.
Right.
But other than that, like, it's like 2 days of me like, oh, I just don't feel good.
Right.
But it's never turned into anything. So I really don't want COVID.
Well, and I wanted to be that person that went through this flipping pandemic and was like, I could tell my grandkids, like, yeah, I never got COVID. Well, I did. So there goes that.
Well, maybe Aunt Cassie can be like, your mom had COVID, but I didn't have COVID.
No, I wanted to be that person, son of a bitch. No. No.
Yeah, I mean, Reese has tested positive. My stepfather has tested positive.
Yeah.
I've had my aunt and uncle test positive. Like, people that I've been around tested positive.
Yeah.
And I've never, like I said, a few days of just not feeling well, and I tested to be sure, because not that I go anywhere, but again, my wife works in healthcare. So if I have it, she's going to be on ultra, you know, caution mode. So she's not infecting anyone that she works with or patients or things like that. So even if I just fell off, I would take a COVID test to be sure, and nothing's ever come back positive. And, you know, anyone who's seen The Notebook, if you're a bird, I'm a bird. That's our motto in our house. Like, if she tested positive for COVID, I was like, well, we sleep in the same bed. So even if you start sleeping, you know, in the spare room now, we've already been in the same bed. It's not going to change anything.
Right. Well, yeah, like Charlie and I didn't isolate. I mean, we both had it. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure we're swapping it back and forth, like literally. So
on day 5 of still testing positive, you're like, I swear we're just giving it back and forth to one.
Yes. Yo, I tested for like a week.
Yeah.
Like positive. And I was like, bitch, get away.
Right? Stop. Get out. You are no longer welcome here.
I know. I'm just glad that I was vaccinated, because I could only imagine not being. So PSA, bitches, get vaccinated and boosted.
Yeah. And
just a suggestion.
I am not boosted. I am vaccinated. I do need to get my booster, just because, again, I may not go anywhere other than like grocery store, but it literally takes one person to either not know or not care.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't go anywhere. I live in my house, and now that I'm pregnant, like, I don't feel like doing anything ever. I don't even go to the grocery store anymore. I use that card.
Right?
I'm like, no. Like, I'll go to like the farmers market and our local like Mennonite market, but other than that, no.
Right.
So I'm like, how the F did I get it? I mean, again, my husband works in the public, so either so I kept saying, you gave me COVID, bitch. You're the one that did it. He's like, how do you know that you didn't give it to me? Because I don't go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I remember
and I had an appointment that morning.
Yeah.
At the doctor's. I had a fucking doctor's appointment. That's right. So I was like, did you get it there? I was like, I guess I could, but I feel like I wouldn't have like had symptoms that quickly.
Yeah. And it's one of those, because I remember it was probably day 4, because you called me Saturday.
Yeah.
And then Sunday we talked a little bit. I checked in to see how you were feeling. And then Monday you didn't show up to work. And I was like, well, I know that, like, I discussed with our boss, and she's like, oh my gosh, you should, you know, if she needs to take the day, take the day. And you didn't show up in the morning. So I was like, okay, she must have taken the day. And I reached out to my boss. I was like, hey, have you talked to Molly? And she's like, oh, I told her to take the day off. I was like, oh no, that's fine.
I know, and I totally forgot to like mention that, like, because we're morning partners, right? We're the ones that like come in, like, and usually we're super good at like communicating, but like I was literally dead to the world.
Well, and that was the thing. Like, I knew you were not feeling well, so, but I was like concerned. I was like, because usually you'll shoot me a text and be like, hey, I'm not feeling well. I'm gonna be a little bit late. And I was like, well, I know I told her to let me know, but I hope she's okay. Like,
I know.
Like, it wasn't anything other than
Like,
I really
girl,
hope she's
yeah,
all right.
right?
Like, but if she's sleeping, I don't want to wake her up. Like,
I know. It was the worst.
But I think it was like day 4 that you and I were talking, and I was like, where do you think you possibly got it from? Did your husband bring it home from work? And Molly literally says to me, I have no idea. No clue.
No idea.
No idea.
I mean, one of those has to be it. I mean, you know, either I got on my appointment, we did go to a wiffle ball game because my husband's in a wiffle ball league. But you were outside
for that.
Yeah, and it's like in a very like open area.
Right.
So yeah, I have no idea. Also, I'm so sorry, pregnancy. I have to pee. Like I've been I can't like I'm so sorry. I was like, I'm gonna start wiggling and then I'm gonna look like this. So I was like, give me just a moment. Just, you know.
Molly's got a pregnancy bladder. No, it's cool. Go, girl. Go pee. So you, like Molly said, if you have the ability to get vaccinated, you know, I know there's such worry and stigma about vaccines. You know, yeah, I'm not going to lie to any of you. My first one, I had no issues the first day. Now, I am diagnosed with chronic headaches and migraines, so there is not a day that goes by that I don't have a headache or a migraine, honestly. It would be migraine pain to most people, but they're just headaches for me. But the second day after I got my vaccine, my head hurt so bad that I just wanted to sleep. I couldn't do anything else. I just wanted to sleep. So day 3, woke up, was good to go. I was fine. Welcome back.
I'm back.
The second vaccine that I got, it just made me really tired.
Yeah.
Like it wiped me out. I was so tired. But again, you know, the next day I was fine. It was just like, okay, your body's fighting, like producing these antibodies. It's working in overdrive. Take a nap and you'll be all right. But I couldn't imagine getting COVID without it. I know people who have passed because of COVID because they did not get vaccinated and they didn't have the immune system to fight, you know, what their body needed to fight. Yeah. I know people who have gotten the vaccine and were sicker than hell and horrible side effects that lasted months and months and months and months and months. So you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
And, you know, vaccines for things that we've been vaccinated as children started somewhere.
No, I know.
You know?
Why don't you think? I mean, there wasn't like an outbreak of like polio or because people aren't vaccinated anymore. But like
people aren't vaccinated anymore.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much eradicated for how many years? Because when it happened, there was a vaccine made and it was distributed. And of course, any new vaccine is always scary. And I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. Any vaccine is always scary in the beginning. I held off on getting this vaccine for quite a while.
Right.
But I saw people, you know, in my family get it and they didn't have any problems. And then my wife got it and she didn't have any problems. And I'm telling you, you want to guinea pig someone, guinea pig her. She is the worst person in the world. Like, I'm not kidding. I get dust bunnies in my nose. She gets the flu. I'm not exaggerating. Like,
right.
She has a horrible immune system.
Yeah.
But when she didn't really have any issues, she was down for a few days, but I was like, well, it's better than her. You know, I mean, when we first started dating, she was sick for like 3 weeks. She had the flu. And like, I'm not kidding. She basically had a body imprint on our couch because she was there for 3 weeks.
That's the thing is I have a typical, like my immune system's pretty baller, right? But when I get sick, oh man, it comes on quick and I'm down. I am sick. And it either turns into bronchitis or pneumonia. Pretty much like all the time.
Yeah, I remember we had an operations manager who looked at Molly and said, you're going to the ER and I'm going to take you.
She was like, because she wanted me to go. Of course, everybody wanted me to go to the doctors, and I'm very stubborn, and I have a tendency of letting things go longer than they probably should. Also, here's my nightly train. And, and I was sick, and I had been sick for a really long time. And I thought, it's just a cold. I'm just, getting over it. And finally, they were like, if you don't go, either if you don't allow me to take you to the doctors, I will call the ambulance. Like, you need to go.
You've got two choices. Either ride in my car or pay $1,500 for a really expensive Uber with flashy lights and a siren.
I mean, I did go to the doctors, and they did recommend that I go to the hospital, but I said, I ain't got time for that. So, what's my other option? I mean, I survived, obviously, but...
Didn't they actually want to admit you to the hospital for pneumonia?
No, they did, because I had I had pneumonia in both my lungs, and one side was filling up pretty quickly, and they wanted me to go in and get, oxygen, and then observe me. And so I said, well, what about if I call you every day and give you my symptoms?
Right. Could we do that? Because I don't have time for that.
Yeah. And he literally looked at me. He's like, if you sound and feel like this tomorrow, he's like, I'm going to make you go in. Like, you have to go in. But I got on my meds and I was okay.
Right. We're going to 302 you to the hospital, not the mental ward.
Yeah, seriously. I was like, you can't force me to go, but...
He's like, no. I'll hit you over the head with something heavy, so then you have to go because you can't refuse treatment, and now you have a head wound.
Well, and the other compromise, too, is I had to go in the next morning. So I actually I had to go in the next morning and get a breathing treatment. And that's when I found out I am allergic to copious amounts of albuterol.
I remember that.
I turned into one big hive. It's awful. And it was so funny because I was living with a roommate at the time, and I was sicker than shit. But for some reason, it was midnight. We were staying up, and it's because I was on steroids, so I could not sleep.
Yeah.
And the entire movie, all the lights are off. The entire movie, my head is itching, and I was like, I don't have head lice. I know that.
Right. I'm not dirty. Not the lice is dirty. However,
no. Well, I mean, because head lice actually clean scalps, contrary to popular belief. But I was like, I don't have head lice. Why is my scalp itching? And I turn it the movie's over, and I turn on the light, and my roommate goes, what the fuck happened to you? And I was like, what? And she goes, what is happening to you? Go look in the mirror. So I go and look. I have hives everywhere, and I'm like, what do I do? And I called my mom that morning, right, telling her I had I had pneumonia. And this is the first time I've had, I was hospitalized when I was a baby and when I was a toddler with pneumonia, because unfortunately I don't run fevers when I'm really, really sick. So she didn't know I had was that sick. And because I wasn't running
you have no telltale signs.
Right. Well, I had all the symptoms, but because I didn't have a fever, unfortunately back then, they didn't treat symptoms. They treated the fever. Well, I didn't have a fever, so they never when she took me to the doctor, so oh, she's fine, she's just cold. No, I didn't. I had pneumonia. I remember being in an oxygen tent, and my mom had just gotten a perm, and she would put her face in, and her glasses would fog up, and her perm would just be all wilted.
That's great.
Yes. So then I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I have pneumonia, and she goes, Molly, dang, why'd you let it go that far? Because she knows me. And I was like, but also, and then I called her early at midnight, so 3 hours because they're in Oregon. So it was 9 o'clock. She's like, oh my gosh, why are you calling me? I was like, well, I just want to confirm that I take Benadryl if I have hives. And she's like, what is happening? What is wrong with you? And I was like, I have an allergic reaction to something. She's like, is your throat swelling up? I was like, I'm talking. I'm just really itchy, and I'm kind of having a hard time breathing.
Right. Yeah. It's a little hard to breathe. And, I'm one giant scratchy spot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. She goes, yes, go get your ass to Walmart or CVS, whatever's open, and get some Benadryl. She's like, if it gets worse, go to the ER. I didn't go to the ER.
I'd have looked at my roommate and been like, I am not going into any store looking like this. I'm going to need you to run for me.
I mean, I didn't care. I put a hat on and like, I didn't have a mask because it was a mask season. Like, that wasn't a thing. But
right. It wasn't COVID yet. We weren't living like that yet.
I just put a hat on and a big old sweatshirt and I made my friend go with me and I was like, let's go. I'm going to go get some Benadryl. Just make sure I stay alive.
Right. Just keep me upright and breathing, please.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I know. Yeah, so Molly gets sick real bad when she does, and I typically don't. Like, I want a really long time. But man, when I do,
you do it right.
Down for the count.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, when I get sick, I don't know. I mean, I honestly, knock on wood, haven't been sick in a very long time.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say I don't remember like colds.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember the last time that I was like super, super, super sick. I want to say it was bronchitis. I think. And I went to the doctor, and this was probably 8-10 years ago. This was a long time ago. And I went to the doctor and I was like, look, I have to work. I have to make a living. Like, I have to go to work. And he looked at me and said, you are going to end up in the hospital. And I don't mean the ER. You're going to end up being admitted to the hospital.
Yeah.
You need to take a couple days off of work. You need to relax. You need to let your medicine work. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, what if I do X, Y, and Z? He's like, no.
Right.
Take at least 2 days off of work and get better.
Right. Well, yeah, I know. One, like, I feel like when you get sick, it's kind of like your body's way of like, bitch, slow down.
Yeah.
You need to like heal a little bit.
Yeah, and exactly. And I was like, okay, well, are you going to pay my bills? He was like, no one's paying your bills if you're dead. I was like, damn, okay.
You got me looking. Okay.
Guess I'm going to take a couple days off work. All right. Say less.
No, I know.
Because I remember going to the doctor and like he gave me medication and, take this. I can't remember what it was. But I remember I called him like 3 days later and was like, I'm getting worse. Like my throat hurts so bad I can't even drink water.
Yeah.
Like I can't eat anything. And he's like, all right, look, the last thing I will send you is he gave me cough syrup with codeine. Yes. He's like, do not take this and go to work. He's like, you will not be able to function. I promise you. He's like, but this will at least help you sleep so your body can recover. And like 2 days later, I was back in his office. And that was when he was like, you need to take time off of work.
Yeah.
You are going to end up in the hospital.
Damn.
Fine.
I know.
Because for me, that I was in a horrible place in a relationship. Like, it was not a good space for me. I was like, I don't want to be at home.
Right.
Longer than I have to be. So, but I mean, here we are, alive and thriving. So,
I mean, the decisions I've made in the past obviously have like been fine because I'm here. So
right, I'm still here, people. Okay,
yeah.
You're still gonna have to put up with me. Just what's gonna happen. Kat said the flu shot knocks me out and my arm kills about a week. The first time I ever got a flu shot, I legit got the flu. I got it because I worked in a special needs education center in Lancaster. Mm-hmm. So I got it because, my kiddos had horrible immune systems.
Right.
And I was like, well, I can't take something to school. Got the flu shot. 2 days later was knocked on my ass for a week and literally had the flu.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, okay, never getting a flu shot again. I do. If we go to visit my in-laws, I'll get a flu shot because my father-in-law is a transplant recipient. So never want to compromise that. But
right.
And Kat, my arm with a flu shot, I'm not sure which is worse, my COVID shot or my flu shot. But when I had my COVID shot, I couldn't even wash my own hair.
Oh my gosh.
I couldn't lift my arm further than this. And I can't reach my head.
Why is that? No, like literally this last appointment, because I had to skip an appointment because of the Rona. And so this last week I went into an appointment and I had to get a Tdap shot, which is for like whooping cough. So I don't give it to her. Charlotte's gonna get one too, so he doesn't give it to her either. And then she'll also have a little bit of antibodies when she comes out. So I'm like, yes, please. And then because I got COVID, I was like, I should probably. My doctor was like, since you had COVID, do you want to get a flu shot so you don't get the flu? Yeah, probably.
Not really, but yeah.
So I did, the first time of my life ever getting a flu shot. I think maybe that's why I have like congestion, but I don't know. And
it's possible.
Yeah, but my arm still has like a bump, and it's like if you press it, it still hurts. It was a week ago.
Yeah, flu shots are fucking lethal. Like,
and then the Tdap one hurts too. I'm just like,
when they got you they jabbed you in each arm, you're like, damn it.
They did. Oh, speaking of which, I have to go get lab work done tomorrow.
You're a hot mess. Kat says, I haven't gotten sick in years, but when I was in Switzerland, I got a sinus infection because it was so humid there, like in Oregon, where I had sinus problems. My sinus is like Utah. LOL.
Well, yeah, Utah's freaking dry, so your boogers like poke you in the nose and make your nose bleed because it's so dry. Oregon does not have that humidity. Try coming this way or like south. F that motherfucker. Listen, summers here are the worst, and then the further you go down south, the worse the humidity there is. This is as far as I go for summer for humidity.
I don't know what dry heat feels like. I've never felt it.
God, it's the best.
At least as an adult. Like, I lived in California when I was a kid, but I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, it's the best because you can literally like go in some shade, even if there's not a breeze, and it's cooler. If there's a breeze, you're like, oh, this is the best. No.
Yeah.
And you walk outside and you're not like drenched in sweat, or like you can actually take a breath in because there's no.
Unlike here, where it's like walking through a wet sponge.
A fucking wet blanket. It's the worst. And then you're never dry. I'm always sweaty in the summer.
I've learned to pack deodorant in like my purse if I'm going somewhere outside because I always want to smell good. And you just sweat here. It's what happens.
Oh my God, there's so much.
So much. Kat says, come visit me in the summer. Okay.
I will.
Here, I actually like Utah. Ow. Okay, you twisted my arm far enough. Sorry.
That's so nice. I was born in Utah. FYI. Little fun fact. I was born in Utah.
Yeah. I am down. I am going to. Has the heat in Arkansas dry?
Arkansas?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, not that it matters because I'll be in Arkansas in January. But I know they have really creepy bugs.
Ooh.
Yeah, I follow a TikToker who lives in just outside of Little Rock, Arkansas, where I'll be. Yeah. And she was posting videos of ladybugs and the larvae before they become ladybugs. And let me tell you how creepy those fucking things are. Okay. They're like green spiky caterpillars.
I totally understand like the ecosystem needs bugs. But like,
could we not?
Do we though? I mean, yeah, we do. I get it. Everything's needed, but no.
Right. Could they stay on their side of the wilderness and I'll stay on mine?
Thank you. I mean, I know we entrenched on your territory, but please don't come into my house.
Right. I don't like your husband right now.
Why? What did he say?
He said, no, it'll be very humid there. It's only dry out west. Damn it.
There you go. Well, and even in the winter time, it's different. So, like, our snow is different. Especially, like, my mom grew up in Colorado, and she would tell stories because she cross-country skied. Yeah, she did. And then she also did marching band in skis.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah. Yep, their marching band marched in skis. Because
it's hard enough to do marching band when you're on your feet.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello, I speak from experience.
Yes. And they would of course they live close because that's just where Steamboat Springs is where they lived. And there was not a resort, but a ski hill there, and they would of course get passes because it was cheaper for the locals or whatever. Right. And she would say that they would be skiing in t-shirts and sunglasses and because because it was sunny outside, so it's like warm, and the snow is like really fluffy. It's not like ice. It's not heavy. Yeah.
Well, I know when I was in Wisconsin and Iowa, and I say both because I stayed in one state, worked in the other. Like
You're right on the border.
I could see the state line from my hotel. Like that's how close I was. But I remember driving from our Wisconsin office back to Iowa, because where our office is in Wisconsin, it's pretty much the only thing in that area. So they were like, we'll have you stay in Iowa because, you know, there are restaurants and things to do on the weekend and stores. And so I remember driving home on a Friday afternoon, and I was out there for 2 weeks, and the it was the operations manager over our program out there came into our training room, was like, hey, you might want to head home. And I was like, why? What do you mean? He's like, well, it's snowing. And I was like, well, yeah, it was snowing an hour ago when I sent the class to break.
Right.
And I'm from Pennsylvania. Like, I'm not new to snow. I'm not from like a southern office.
Right.
He's like, no, you might want to head back to the hotel, because it was like a half hour, 40-minute drive.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. So I dismissed the class, and I gathered up my things, and I went up to the front of the building, and I looked out at my car, and I went, oh
God,
it's really snowing.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I told you might want to head back to the hotel. So I got the little pizza place down the street. I like their pizza, and I knew I was going to be snowed in all weekend. So I called, and I got a pizza to take with me. And I think it took me like an hour and a half to get from our office to my hotel. And their snow is different out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I learned how to drive in the snow in Pennsylvania. Like, I'm not naive to driving in weather. And tractor trailers are blowing past me on the highway. And it was like someone took a handful of powdered sugar and went,
yeah.
Like, it was just, and I couldn't see anything. It was like, what is happening? And now, like, one of the people who lived here and worked in our office now works out there and lives there with his family. And I've said, like, your snow is a different kind of snow. I don't know if it's the way your roads are made or just your atmosphere. And he's like, no, I know what you mean. Like, it doesn't stick to the road. It just flies around. And I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. Like, it's a completely different snow.
Yeah, no, it's because it's the moisture in the air. So, like, here, our snow is very heavy, very wet.
Yeah. Very wet. Like, knock your power out wet.
Like, you make a snowball and it's a flipping rock that you're throwing.
Right. It's a glorified ice ball that you can launch at your friend, and hopefully you don't knock them out.
You literally get like little pelt marks. Like when we make a snowball, like when it hits you, it goes.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with that snow. Let's just say, like, I can't drive in that snow. Not used to that.
I know it.
That's the kind of snow we need for our snowblower, because our wet snow, it just clogs the snowblower.
Well, I don't have a snowblower, but I don't have also a big area to shovel. And honestly, I don't really shovel that much. Charlie does.
Yeah. Well, we don't have a lot. We have a 4-car driveway and a patio that's not covered. So it's easier. However, our snow is so fucking wet.
It is. It's really wet and cold.
You do 2 passes. You got to turn a snowblower off, unclog it. Do 2 more passes, unclog it.
Well, and the worst thing, too, is, like, when it is that cold and it snowed and it's, like, that wet snow and then the wind chill comes in, too. Lord Jesus, help me. Like, I'm freezing.
Well, and, like, going back to the Midwest, I would start my car half an hour before I had to leave the hotel. And it would still say on, like, the temperature gauge in the car,
cold.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Like, warning, severe low temperatures outside.
I love that. I'm like, I know shit. I know. And I still gotta go. So.
Right. Thank you for the caution, but I still have to go where I'm going. So I'd let my car run for about a half hour at the hotel. I would have like a half hour, 40-minute drive to the office. my car still wouldn't be warmed up by the time I got to the office.
Well, and when it gets that cold and you have that type of wind chill too, it affects your battery. So like it can't, like some people can't even start their cars because it's so cold.
I've had that here where like one day my car is fine, the next day I go out and it's hesitant to start, and I'm like, okay, look, Mother Nature.
Right.
I got to go to work, so if I have to buy a new battery, I'm gonna need you to work with me a little bit.
I remember as a kid having to plug in my dad's truck, like the battery when it got cold so it would start in the mornings. I just remember having to do that as a kid. That was like one of my chores, making sure his truck was plugged in.
Yeah. It's crazy. And now, like, and I know I say this, global warming is a thing, y'all.
I know it is.
Like, I remember when I was a kid getting, crazy snowstorms and having 3 feet of snow, but it was normal for us to always have snow on the ground throughout winter. Always.
Yeah.
Like, it was a constant thing. There was, of course, freak snowstorms here and there, but it was more of a constant thing throughout winter. Now we get snowstorms where for 3 weeks it's just 4 degrees with a wind chill or a wind chill of like -4.
In the negatives, yeah.
And no snow. And then all of a sudden you wake up one Saturday morning and there's 3 feet of snow outside.
Seriously.
And you're like, oh, but it's warm because it can't snow when it's that cold. So you're like, oh, it's warm now, but now we've got 3 feet of snow to dig out of. And it's wet. And now I'm freezing.
I know.
Thank you very much, jerk.
I feel like the snow started earlier this year.
It did. It's not rare to have snow on Thanksgiving in this area, but it's been a few years since it's happened.
It's been a hot second.
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
Well, and Molly's been humming Christmas carols for weeks now.
Listen, I love Christmas. I don't care. There's no such thing as too much Christmas or like starting it too soon. I know people get like all bajiggy about it, like, don't let me celebrate Thanksgiving. Listen, I'm gonna celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas at the same time.
Right.
Like
my whole thing is let me celebrate Halloween. Then you can have all the Christmas you want. Just let me get through Halloween first. I like spooky season.
No, me too. November 1st comes around. I'm like, it's a mesh between Christmas and Thanksgiving. So.
Right. But speaking of Thanksgiving, it's next week.
Yo, I know. And I don't I know. And I was just reminded of that this week because I thought it was like the week after. It's not.
Next week,
but
girl.
Your girl has some vacation days that she's using, and I'm really excited about. I'm so excited right now.
Right, lucky bitch. I'm saving mine for January, but
I know. Why? Again, I gotta use them, otherwise, because they don't roll over. So
right,
like,
use them or lose them.
I'm gonna use them.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that being said, while I munch on my fortune cookie, next week is Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we are going into the holiday season and the soon to be little human season. And I am going out of state in January. So we've got a very busy few months ahead of us.
Yeah.
We are going to cut down the shows. So this is the last show in November.
Yep.
We will be back on the 2nd of December, the 16th of December, and the 30th of December. And then we're going to take a little break.
Yeah.
Because we love y'all, but I'm going to be gone for a week in January. We don't know
I have a baby that's coming.
Baby will be here. We don't know. We know it's sometime after the first of the year. But anyone who is either been around children or, parents with children or has children or know how childbirth works, they could tell you you're due on this date and you have said child 3 weeks before or 2 weeks after.
Yeah. Basically all the blogs that I've been reading and everything, because listen, I like to do a lot of research, so I have a lot of knowledge. They're like, be prepared by 36 weeks.
Right.
Like, you literally, like, at that point, she can come at any time. And it'd be, of course, I mean, technically she can come at any time now and it'd still be, like, she'll be fine.
Right.
But that's when it's, like, shit's getting real. Like, you make sure you're, like, you have everything you need. The nursery, if you have a nursery set up, but, like, you have your setup ready.
You have your go bag ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
So with all of the holidays coming up, like, we still want to hang out through the rest of the year with everybody. But then after the first of the year, we're going to take all the time off that Molly needs. She's a first-time mama. Charlie's a first-time dad. So we want to give them time to enjoy baby, recuperate, get as much sleep as humanly possible.
I know.
So we're going to leave up to Molly as to when we come back, how often we come back at first. But yeah, if things go in a good direction in January for myself when I'm in Arkansas.
Yeah.
I could be doing my day job on the road. So I doing my day job on the road, doing my side gig on the side.
You might be just too busy.
I don't know. Yeah. What would become of it? So we're going to take some time off. We don't know how long. We don't know.
Right.
Like, we don't even have an estimated date of coming back. It's not going to be hopefully be permanent.
No.
Because we love hanging out with y'all. We just may have to do a different schedule. But yeah, we just want to give you a heads up that we do have 3 shows left in 2022. And then we'll be back at some point in 2023. We're going to enjoy life a little bit, and we're both going to be crazy busy. So,
well, and I don't like change. Anybody that knows me, I hate change. Right. I mean, I take it well sometimes, and I deal with it. But I'm like, this is a big fucking change. I'm having a human.
Right. I'm now responsible for another life.
Like, what? Like, I'm barely responsible for myself, and let alone my husband. Shouldn't I not be responsible for the both of us and this child? What the hell? I'm just kidding.
Right.
Yeah, right. No, so I'm like, oh gosh, let me just. And listen, I am an emotional person. I own up to it, and I have hormones right now. And I always have hormones because I'm a lady. But I just want to be able to, like, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm done. My brain is set. Oh, I'll tell you this. Pregnancy fog is a real thing. Pregnancy brain is a real thing. And it's, like, really hitting me. Like, last week and this week. Like, I'm just done for. Like, I might as well not be a person. I can't remember shit. I can't remember, like, my words. Like, I was trying to say, boneyard the other day to Charlie. Like, because I was telling a story. And the punchline was boneyard. And I fucked that up. Like I said, bone guard. Nope. Bone guard. Nope. Bone guard. Son of a bitch! What am I trying to say?
Damn it! Just work.
He's like, it sounds like a video game boss you're trying to win. Bone guard. I'm like, I'm trying to say boneyard. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. You're like, just leave me alone.
Seriously. Oh my gosh. So I know I'm going to have a lot of postpartum stuff happening, perhaps, because these emotions during pregnancy was insane.
Yeah. So. When we always preach here about self-care and taking care of yourself and making sure that you're number one priority. So, of course, when all of your hormones go wonky from, having tiny human, you have to take care of you. You have to be there for her. And, it's important to make sure that you're good for her. So
again, but we have 7 minutes, so I'm just going to wait. But that's pregnancy for you guys.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to be that hippy dippy person. I'm dehydrating my placenta and putting it in pill capsules. Sure. I've read a ton and listened to podcasts of, like, how much nutrients is in your placenta and, like, how beneficial it is to take it, like, postpartum and how it regulates your hormones. I was like, bitch, sign me up.
Well, why don't we talk about that on the second? Like, all of the things you've learned, like, let's talk about it.
So much, because absolutely, because yeah, and I'll definitely go into it in the sense of like what I wanted my like pregnancy to be and like what I want my delivery to be and things like
Yeah.
that, and then just the different options that are available for women.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
of course, advocate for yourself, women, ladies, especially in the medical field. Especially being plus size, we got to. So yeah, I'd love to talk about that.
Awesome. Well, so since you have to pee, why don't we wrap up our show and
So sorry.
do our what we're thankful for,
Yeah.
and then we'll call it a night so Molly can pee. Do you want to go first, my friend?
I do. No, listen, we're coming up on the Thanks of the Givings. And I know that unfortunately this holiday started on a very awful tradition. But there is some things to be thankful for. Oh my God, this is what happens. I get fucking derailed. I just looked at my vitamins and I was like, I didn't take that today. And then I was like, done. But no, I've had a lot of blessings. I have had a great pregnancy, medically wise. And I'm very thankful for that, because unfortunately I was scared in the beginning because of some of misinformation that was given. And I'm just thankful that it's been, I've gotten this far, and I've been healthy as a horse, which I don't understand that saying, but like I'm still gonna use it. And then I'm also thankful that I'm going through this journey with the partner that I have. Getting a little sappy. So yeah, it's been really rough emotionally wise. And I've had a lot of freak out moments and a lot of meltdowns. And he's been there the entire time and has like taken all of my lashings that I give, right? And has been so supportive and just helpful. So that is what I'm really thankful for as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. I'm just gonna keep it simple, and like you said, like with Thanksgiving, yeah, it didn't start on the greatest of traditions, but we got to celebrate Thanksgiving with our bonus kids and that family last weekend. And next week I get to celebrate with my family. We are actually closed at work, so that's a bonus. We don't have to worry about anyone at work working while we're not, trying to celebrate our family and not working. So that's awesome. I am sad that Reese's family lives so far away, her mom and stepdad. But yeah, we'll talk to them on the phone and we'll get to celebrate with her family. So I'm just thankful that we have good people in our lives who genuinely love us, regardless of how crazy we can be, and allow us to be ourselves, because in our community that doesn't happen very often. So I'm very, very thankful for that. And I'm looking forward to that day off from work, an actual day off from work, because we are closed.
I know.
So yeah, that's what I'm thankful for. So
it's gonna be a good season.
Yeah. But all right, everyone, I can see Molly hopping up and down in her seat. So we are going to say goodnight. But we will be back on December 2nd. Remember, we're going to talk about what Molly said, all her hippy dippy shit. And we're going to talk about her birthing plan and what she plans to do and all she's learned in her pregnancy journey. So make sure you join us on the 2nd. Until then, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.